House zikire musanje zeihangwe ohulirize KDR 10.3 fama akaire kanu nikakuleterwa
MTN Voice Bundles ezikutera network zona habei dondolo migasita 10 ibiri mu hash rundo yekonyeza my MTN app okome mu daily bundle habo kuba butukuba zaitwena titukwemerezebwa. MTN Uganda Limited nerolerwa Uganda Communications Commission.
A very good afternoon. It is exactly 1 p.m. My name is Deo Asiimwe. I welcome you to this broadcast of KDR News this afternoon. Now the detail. Ugandan security has called for calm and vigilance among citizens and visitors in the wake of terror threats. In a public alert today morning, security says that it has received intelligence information of the ADF members who have entered into the country with an aim of causing havoc, calling on the public to be vigilant and report any suspicious, strange characters to the security or the police. Security also urges members of the public and security personnel to ensure proper screening of all entry points to all big public places like malls, markets, churches and bars, among others. ADF terrorist group has in the past been blamed for a number of attacks on Uganda, including the November 2021 double blast at the Central Police Station and along Parliamentary Avenue in Kampala that killed over 5 people, including police officers, and left several others critically injured. Following the attacks, Islamic State IS claimed that 3 suicide bombers had taken part in the twin blasts, adding that this was a punishment to Uganda for participating in the war against terrorist group in the Central Africa. The United States recently officially linked IS to Allied Democratic Forces terrorist group operating in Eastern Democratic Republic of Congo. This was after ADF swore allegiance to IS and has since changed the name to Islamic State in the Central African province IS-CAP. Uganda has hit ADF from its own background inside the Democratic Republic of Congo, where scores of fighters and their commanders have been either killed or captured alive, while several abductees have been freed. Back home in Uganda, security has also carried out several operations targeting ADF cells within the country, where a number of their members have either been put out of action or arrested and several catches of weapons seized. Putting that story aside, residents of Mubende district have accused officers at the Mityana Zonal Office of Corruption and Extortion, claiming that the officials prioritize money over their mandate to serve the public. The allegations were aired during a stakeholders meeting chaired by the Lands Minister Judith Nabakova at the Mubende Teachers College. Musa Kamya Busulwa, the parish chairperson of Kitenga, expressed frustration over the bureaucratic hurdles and corruption he encountered while processing land titles. He warns that the current practices at the Mityana Zonal land offices could lead to widespread disenfranchisement if left unaddressed. Other community members criticize the failure to enforce previous directives issued to resolve land disputes, especially those involving powerful individuals. Emmanuel Kabanda Nsenjiyumva, a councillor for Kalunga Sub-County, cites the unresolved cases of Bibanja holders displaced by Professor Kaihurankuba in Kalunga area. Land title overlaps were another recurring concern, with residents calling for intervention on concerned authority to address the issue, which they claim has fueled conflicts in the area. William Museveni Ndoli, the MP from Wekula South, appeals to appeals for urgent action, emphasizing the need to resolve disputes caused by overlapping titles. In her response, the Minister of Lands, Judith Navakova, attributes many of the issues to negligence by the district's land board, criticizing the board for issuing documents without proper due diligence, which has exacerbated conflicts in the region. The minister urges local leaders to work together to resolve disputes and assured the residents of her commitment to addressing their concerns, pledging to return to Mubende to engage with the residents directly at the village level. Moving on, the police has said that Inspector General of Police's office is currently drafting guidelines to implement the presidential directive denying police bond to certain suspects. In his televised end-of-year address to the nation, President Yoweri Kaguta Museveni directed the police to stop giving police bond to village thieves, saying it will reduce insecurity in the country. He also said he has asked the judiciary through the Chief Justice to end giving bail to certain suspected criminals on trial. This, he says, was because his government has succeeded in stopping major incidents like killings by armed elements like the Allied Democratic Forces and as well murders done by hired hitmen. Museveni said that it has worked in the Karamoja region where the military court does not grant suspected cattle raiders bond or bail, and that this is the reason there is peace there. Now, while addressing journalists at Nagulu Police Headquarters yesterday, the Kampala Metropolitan Police spokesperson Patrick Onyango said that police cannot disregard presidential directives. However, they are currently awaiting orders from the IGP's office, which he says is developing guidelines to instruct junior officers on implementing the presidential directive. Onyango explains that the guidelines will help deter junior officers from abusing the presidential directive by indiscriminately denying police bond to every suspect. Now, crossing over to the court-martial, the General Court-Martial sitting in Makindye, Kampala, has rejected a request by the lawyers defending a veteran politician, retired Colonel Dr. Kizza Besigye, and his political ally, Obeid Lutale, to reinstate Aaron Kizza on the defense team. Kizza, who is one of the Besigye and Lutale's lawyers, was last week arrested at the court-martial and subsequently sentenced to 9 months in jail without allowing him to defend himself. Kizza, who was at a military court to represent his client, was accused of contempt of court after he rejected instruction by the military officers to take a backseat in the court. In the previous court sessions, Kizza had been taking the first seat at the front, where he had bitter exchange with the judge advocate. Besigye and Lutale were yesterday brought back to the same court, where they are battling charges of treachery, illegal possession of firearms, and ammunition. During the court session, one of the defense lawyers, Samuel Moyizi, read out a full list of defense lawyers without Aaron Kizza on the list. Kampala Lord Mayor Elias Lukwago then asked court to allow Kizza get out of jail briefly and represent his client, saying that there is a specific role that had been assigned to him in representing the accused persons. However, the court-martial Chairman Brigadier Freeman Mugabe rejected the request outright. He then sought the legal advice of the judge advocate Brigadier Richard Tukachungura, who says that the defense team is a formidable force and does not require Kizza to execute its duties. Besigye and Lutale returned to court today, and currently the proceedings are going on, and we shall bring you the detail of this story.
You are still listening to KDR News Broadcast. This is the news on the international scene.
For the news on the international scene, Sierra Leone. Sierra Leone has declared a public health emergency after 2 cases of mpox were confirmed. The West African country's health minister, Austin Demby, announced the move yesterday after the second case of the deadly viral disease was confirmed. Last week, Sierra Leone reported its first case of mpox since the African Union's health watchdog declared a public health emergency over the growing mpox outbreak on the continent last year. A second case was confirmed after a 21-year-old man showed symptoms on 6th of this month, the National Public Health Emergency says on social media. Neither case had known recent contact with affected animals or other risk individuals, the Ministry of Health and Sanitation has said. Both patients are receiving treatment at a hospital in Freetown. Dear listener, we take a quick look on the top stories as we wind up at today's afternoon bulletin. Security calls for calm vigilance among citizens amid terror threat. Mubende locals accuse Mitiana Zone Office of corruption in meeting with the land minister. Police await for IGP's green lights on presidential bond directive, and Sierra Leone declares emergency over mpox outbreak. At 11 minutes past 1 p.m., my name is Deo Asiimwe, and that marks the end of today's bulletin. I wish you the best of your lunch and a happy Tuesday. Stay with us.